You will begin with shoulders. The muscles that cap our shoulders derive their name deltoid from the fourth letter in the Greek alphabet, delta. Our deltoids are comprised of three rather distinct portions, the anterior, lateral, and posterior portions, which, taken together, form a delta, or triangular shape. Each of the three deltoid heads possesses a function. The frontal or anterior portion is designed to raise the arm to the front of the body upon contraction. The lateral or middle head lifts the arm to the side and away from the body, while the posterior portion of the deltoid muscle pulls the arm behind the plane of the torso when it contracts. When aiming for complete and total development of the deltoid muscle, all three heads must be made to perform their natural function of moving the upper arm in some direction away from the torso. Therefore, we will have to perform different exercises in our deltoid workout if we wish for complete development. The exercises that we will have to concentrate on to get at all three heads will be raises of different sorts, with the exception of the anterior portion of the delts, which receives ample stimulation from the dumbbell fly incline press pre-exhaust training from workout 1. The exercises in this workout are the standing lateral raise to hit the side or lateral head of the delt, and the rear or bent over lateral raise for the posterior portion of the delt. The lateral raise is by far the best exercise for developing that important lateral head of the deltoid. While holding a dumbbell in each hand, rest the dumbbells to the sides of your thighs, palms facing your thighs. With a slight bend in the elbows, raise them from that position until your arms are parallel to the ground. Don't raise them to the front, but laterally, directly up from the side of the body. This is the only delt exercise for which I might recommend a slightly looser style of performance than that described for most exercises. If you don't use a slight thrust in the beginning of this movement just to get the weight started, you won't be able to employ a weight heavy enough to provide the necessary resistance in the top or contracted position of the exercise. Do not, however, use a weight that requires a ridiculously sloppy style. With only a very slight jerk, keep the weight moving with the work of the muscles and hold it at shoulder level for a distinct pause. If you cannot hold it there, remember, you used momentum instead of muscle to perform the work. From the top, lower slowly and feel the weight all the way back to the starting position. Perform one set of 6 to 10 repetitions until failure. You can take a brief rest, say 60 seconds, and then proceed to the next deltoid exercise, bend over dumbbell laterals. While bending over at the waist with a slight bend in the knees, with the torso parallel to the floor, raise the dumbbells until the arms move as far above the torso as possible. Pause, and then lower under control. Do 6 to 10 repetitions. That concludes the shoulder workout. From there, we proceed to the biceps. As your biceps were worked quite thoroughly with the close grip underhand pull-downs in your chest and back workout, you may wish to use this exercise again. If not, then a regular barbell curl will suffice. It is easy to slip into a very loose style when doing the regular curl, so be especially cautious here to perform your first 6 reps with no sudden jerk or cheat. Standing behind the bar, bend down with your back straight and head up. Grasp the bar with a shoulder-width grip and stand up. Without any sudden jerking, yanking, or thrusting to get the weight started, curl the bar under strict control, while keeping your elbows tucked in at the waist. Allow the arms to extend fully at the bottom, and curl all the way to the contracted position where the bar touches the clavicles. Upon reaching the top, pause only slightly and lower under control. You will notice that the hardest part of the curl is at the point when the forearms are in a position perfectly parallel to the floor. This is the only point in the range of motion where you have direct resistance, because here you will be pulling straight up while the bar is being pulled straight down. It is important that you fight the weight through that point rather than lean back with the body as leverage to help. Perform one set of 6 to 10 repetitions until failure. The majority of bodybuilders believe the only function of the biceps to be the flexion of the forearm, that is, bringing the forearm from an extended position to a flexed one closer to the upper arm. This is actually the secondary function of the biceps. Its primary function is to supinate the hand or turn the palm up. Before the biceps can fulfill its secondary function of flexing the forearm, its primary function of supinating the hand must be fulfilled first. What this means for the bodybuilder is that the palms must be facing directly up when performing biceps work. In order to achieve this position, a straight barbell or dumbbell must be employed. The easy curl or cambered bar, which so many bodybuilders use, is actually counterproductive in working the biceps, as it causes the hands to be placed away from the supine towards a prone position. Always use a palms-up grip then when working the biceps, and perform the exercise through a full range of motion, from full extension to full contraction. These two bits of information are vital if you want to get the most from your biceps training. Now we move on to the triceps. The primary function of the triceps is to extend the forearm, and its secondary function is to bring the upper arm into the body, having fulfilled its primary function. There are very few ways of working both functions of the triceps with conventional equipment. The best two exercises for doing that are the triceps press down on the lat machine and the dip between parallel bars. These two exercises will be focused on here and should be included in all arm routines. It would be possible to stimulate 100% of the biceps and triceps bulk, or any muscle's entire bulk, if we would exercise them with direct resistance over their full range of motion. We would need to employ exercise, in other words, that provided resistance for both functions of the muscle. Since there is no conventional exercise equipment that will do that, we must employ two exercises designed to work each of the tricep muscles' various functions. The first tricep exercise is triceps press downs. Since this exercise causes you to extend the forearms, with the upper arms already held into the body, you work the two functions of the triceps mentioned earlier. This double-barreled action is very important in working all three heads of the triceps. With a machine similar to the lat pull-down, grasp the bar in front of you with a close grip, hands 8 inches apart, with your elbows tucked in at the sides of your waist. There should be no traveling of the upper arms away from the tucked at the waist stable position, or the pectorals and latissimus dorsi will come into play. Extend the bar downwards with the body held straight up, so that body leverage does not aid in the movement. Lock the elbows firmly at the bottom and pause momentarily before allowing the bar to return slowly to the extended position. Perform 6 to 10 repetitions until failure, and then immediately perform the next exercise. Dips. Veteran trainees think of dips as the upper body squat. Mike often said that it is so productive that if he had to choose one exercise for the upper body, it would be dips. Observe the gymnasts who specialize on the parallel bars. They possess pectorals, deltoids, and triceps similar in development to that of a bodybuilder's. This exercise will be utilized in the development of the triceps in much the same way that incline presses were used for the pectorals. After carrying a set of press downs to a point of momentary failure, a set of dips will follow immediately so that we can call upon the strength of the pectorals and frontal deltoids to aid the triceps in continuing to contract, even though they are fatigued from the initial isolation exercise. The rest between the two exercises must be literally zero, lest the triceps recover their strength and render the principle of pre-fatigue inoperative. Dips performed for the triceps should be done with the elbows held in close to the body and the legs held slightly back away from the body so that you are tipped forward. As with all exercise, perform the dips in a slow and deliberate manner, going all the way down at the bottom and locking the elbows at the top. Perform one set of 3 to 5 repetitions until failure. That concludes this workout.